Elias Suleiman's The Time That Remains is a deeply personal and political work, a chronicle of Palestinian endurance told through silence, memory, and irony. Spanning from the 1948 Nakba to the early 2000s, the film traces the story of Suleiman's own family in Nazareth, unfolding as both autobiography and allegory. What makes this film so distinctive is how it resists the conventional language of political cinema. No speeches, no melodramatic deaths, no calls to arms. Instead, it offers something quieter, more radical: the politics of remaining. Elias Suleiman, born in 1960 in Nazareth, belongs to the generation of Palestinians who inherited exile. Much of his directorial career explores what it means to live within the absurdity of occupation. His signature style is instantly recognizable: long static shots, minimal dialogue, and a darkly comic tone that feels like Buster Keaton or Wes Anderson filtered through political despair. But beneath the humor lies a rigorously crafted language of cinema, one that transforms waiting, watching, and repetition into acts of defiance. The Time That Remains begins in 1948, during the foundation of the Israeli state and the violent displacement of Palestinians known as the Nakba. Suleiman recreates this history not as spectacle, but as lived memory. The story begins with his father, Fouad, a resistance fighter captured and beaten but allowed to return home. Through his survival, the film establishes its central idea: the act of continuing to live, of remaining in place. It becomes its own form of resistance. From there, the film moves through decades, using 4 chapters, 1948, 1970, 1980, and the present day, to chart the family's endurance. The transitions between these eras are elliptical, almost dreamlike. Suleiman never announces time shifts explicitly. Instead, history bleeds into the present. This fragmentation mirrors the Palestinian experience itself, a life where past trauma and current occupation coexist in the same breath. Suleiman's cinematic world is built through stillness and observation. The camera rarely moves. Shots are composed symmetrically, often from a distance, evoking the static surveillance of life under occupation. This compositional stillness forces us to observe, to sit in the discomfort of time passing. It's a technique that transforms space into both a home and a cage. Every room, every street corner, feels both ordinary and loaded with invisible pressure. In this way, the film visualizes an occupied space. Even when the characters go about daily routines such as cooking, sweeping, or watching television, there's a sense that something larger, something unseen, is always encroaching. This is not just a film about geography, but about temporality, about how political occupation colonizes not only land, but also duration, rhythm, and routine. Domestic spaces, particularly the kitchen and the living room, recur throughout the film as sanctuaries of normalcy. They are sites of memory and ritual, where the past lingers in gestures. A mother stirring a pot, a father fixing an old tool, a family sitting together in silence. These small, repetitive actions become an archive, a form of reterritorialization. When political maps erase home, the home reclaims meaning through habit. At the heart of The Time That Remains lies nostalgia, not just a sentimental longing for the past, but a critical nostalgia, one that insists on remembering even when memory hurts. Suleiman's nostalgia is spatial. It resides in familiar corners of Nazareth, in the familiarity of Elia's friends, and the image of his mother looking out the window. It is through these moments that the film constructs an alternate homeland, not bound by borders, but by memory. As the film progresses, Suleiman inserts himself more directly into the narrative. His on-screen persona is almost silent, expressionless, detached, observing rather than acting. He becomes the witness, the embodiment of diaspora consciousness. In this role, he stands for Palestinians both at home and abroad, always present, yet somehow displaced within their own existence. His silence is not apathy. It is the condition of the observer in a world where speaking changes nothing. Here is a specific scene from the movie that I think does a very good job of encapsulating the significance and the themes of the film.
أهلا وسهلا. زمان عنك. وينك يا رجل؟ يا والله اشتقنا لك. وين انت؟ ليش تتصلش؟ تعال اشرب لك كاس إنا. جبت لك مجموعة أغاني جديدة، إشي بطير ضبان العقل. لازم تيجي تسمعها. بعدين اسمع، في حفلة الليلة بالستونز مع دي جي، إشي مخيف. كل الشلة جاي. لازم تيجي. عظيم 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 عظيم. اوكي. يلا باي حبيبي.
The absurdity of this scene borders on comic, but its implications are devastating. It's a perfect encapsulation of what living under occupation feels like: the normalization of surveillance, the quiet performance of dignity in the face of absurd power. The man's indifference becomes defiance. By continuing his daily routine, he resists fear. He insists on ordinary life in extraordinary conditions. Cinematically, the scene is meticulous. The shot is static, the lighting is flat, the colors are muted, and the sound is minimal. Only the soft hum of the tank's barrel moving and the man chatting on the phone. Suleiman refuses to dramatize the threat. Instead, he makes the audience inhabit its banality. The occupation is not always violence in motion. It is violence embedded in routine. The longer the shot holds, the more we feel the weight of existing under the barrel of the tank. This is what Suleiman means by the time that remains. It's the time that exists between moments of conflict, the suspended duration where people still live, still breathe, still take out the trash. The act of survival itself becomes the narrative. Suleiman's use of irony draws from the tradition of absurdist theater and silent comedy. He turns mechanical repetition into meaning. His comedy is rooted in the politics of endurance. Each gag, like a soldier needing a rock to step on to blindfold a prisoner, or Israeli officers bumping their heads to the music of a Palestinian club past curfew, contains a sadness that undercuts the humor. It's laughter as survival, not escape. Throughout the film, Suleiman's control of form, his static camera, his long takes, his use of off-screen space becomes a political language in itself. When movement does occur, it's often mechanical or militarized. Tanks, jeeps, uniformed marches. Civilian life, by contrast, is marked by stillness and waiting. The contrast turns form into ideology. The oppressor moves, the occupied remain. In the final act, time slows even further. The aging mother becomes the last living memory of the old Palestine, her presence anchoring the film's emotional weight. When she passes away, Suleiman is left alone, surrounded by the bustle of others' lives, yet his own is empty. The silence after her death is not just grief, it's historical silence, the echo of people whose story has been muted by others. By the end of the time that remains, there is no conventional resolution, no liberation, no tragic climax. Instead, there is continuity, the persistence of ordinary life amid extraordinary conditions. The camera lingers on the ordinary, the quiet hum of existence. What survives is not victory, but presence. The absence of closure is deliberate. It mirrors the ongoing nature of the Palestinian experience, a history without finality. The film becomes a cinematic document of what remains, the fragments of daily life that defy erasure. Every still frame, every act of silence, asserts that despite everything, Palestine endures.